From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with OSU writer Scott Wright. Well, Scott, Oklahoma State lost an offensive line coach, and less than a day later it had a new one. Kind of surprising news that Josh Henson was out the door. Let's start with that before we get on to Charlie Dickie's hiring. I mean, Josh Henson, OSU guy, Stillwater, had been there before as a coach. The fact that he's leaving to go to Texas A&M, how much of a surprise? What were the factors in your mind?
It was a pretty big surprise. Obviously, the money is the immediate thing that you look at. $420,000 up to $600,000 a year, roughly, is what the reports are that he's going to be making at Texas A&M. That's a big factor. Another factor is, yes, the fact that he just got passed over for an offensive coordinator job by a 34-year-old coach who had never coached above the Ivy League and FCS level. So that, I think, had something to do with it. This is a guy who wants to be an offensive coordinator again. He had an up and down run as the offensive coordinator at Missouri. Wants another shot. Kind of maybe feels like, looking at Sean Gleason, just like Mike Yurcich before him, maybe it's going to take him 4 or 5 years before he gets up to that level where he can move on and take another job, get a head coaching job, or whatever it be. Before that Oklahoma State offensive coordinator job is open again. Maybe in Henson's mind that was a little bit of a roadblock, and he saw a better opportunity somewhere else. He's a guy that had some interest from some mid-level programs as an offensive coordinator already. It's tricky for offensive line coaches to get those jobs because a lot of people focus on the quarterback coach or a different position coach as their offensive line coach. As their offensive coordinator. And so it's tricky for an offensive line coach to get those offensive coordinator opportunities, and it seems like maybe he felt that along with the pay raise, this might be a better or quicker path to another offensive coordinator job.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me for sure, because when he arrived back in Stillwater, I remember him talking specifically about the fact that his kids who'd started in Columbia, Missouri schools were going to get to graduate high school in Stillwater. They only stayed 2 years. So tough moving around when you're a coach. But Oklahoma State moves quickly to replace him. Another offensive line coach. The churn has been huge since Joe Wickline left, Scott. But what do we know about Charlie Dickie coming in to coach offensive line?
Charlie Dickie, obviously an older guy than Josh Henson was, but as a lot of the same principles, an intense, serious coach who relates to his players well, a father figure type. Guys who have played for him really love him. Dalton Reisner, who is expected to be a first-round pick, possibly in the NFL draft. I spoke with him on the phone, and he could not say enough good things about the relationship that he had with Charlie Dickie. So he's been a really important guy in that Kansas State rebuild. Obviously, things have gone south here now at the end of Bill Snyder's tenure, but he was a guy that Bill Snyder picked when he returned to coaching in 2009. And Dickie has stayed with him that entire time. A really solid, you think of Kansas State football over the last 10 years, offensive line toughness up there is something that's been a trademark of these teams. They've done a lot of good things, not always with the best talent up front. So they've developed their players. They have recruited well at times when they've needed to. Reisner was an important recruit out of Colorado that they got, developed, made him a 4-year starter. Began his career at center, then moved to tackle, and now he's heading on to the NFL. So Dickie is really strong in both of those facets, and he walks into a really good situation at Oklahoma State.
Well, this unexpected move of Josh Henson, Scott, also brings up the question you mentioned earlier. He'd gotten passed over for that offensive coordinator spot. Another guy on staff that did as well, Casey Dunn. There's some rumblings that maybe he's looking around. Do we know anything about that?
It's still up in the air. A lot of rumors going around right now. But that would be another crushing blow. Losing Josh Henson was a big deal. He had taken this offensive line from he really inherited a mess when he took over in 2017 and turned it around with 2 really strong recruiting classes and was on the way to developing a really strong group of guys. Casey Dunn has a proven track record. He's been bringing in guys. He did it again this year with Langston Anderson to fill the one opening that they had in the recruiting class for a wide receiver. He keeps developing guys. He keeps recruiting guys that are perfect for what Mike Gundy wants to do. losing him would be, on top of Hinson especially, a really big blow to this offense. You're basically looking at almost a full offensive turnover because of just the personalities of guys like Hinson and Dunn and their influence in that offensive meeting room. Not to say that the other guys aren't important or valuable, but Sean Gleason really needed those guys around to help him learn this offense and get him ready to be the offensive coordinator. If they were to lose both Hinson and Dunn, it would be quite a shock to the system at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, we'll have to keep monitoring that to see if anything does happen with Casey Dunn. At this point, as far as we know, still a Cowboy coach. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.